Alright, so in our last lesson, we learned a lot. We took a tour around CorelDRAW and we talked about the various tools, we talked about the various toolbars, the various bars, let me just say the various bars. We talked about the toolbar, the menu bar, the status bar, where to find dockers and how to customize your workspace. We talk about a lot of things, okay? So today we are actually going to do something on CorelDRAW. We are going to do something with the toolbars, okay? So think of it as an introduction to toolbars. We are going to work with shapes and lines, alright? Now shapes and lines are the foundation of design. Okay, everything in design is made up of a shape or a line. Okay, there is no running away from it. Then you have your text are also made up of lines, and a closed line is a shape. A line that is closed, a line that goes round and eventually comes back to the starting point and closes is a shape. That's why even your text are shapes, okay, because they are closed. And a good characteristics of closed lines is that they can accept fill. Okay, they can accept fill and they can accept outline. But a but sometimes it's not a shape in CorelDRAW terms. Sometimes it's not a shape will not accept fill. Okay, you cannot fill it in with color, but you can only give it outline, right? So that is a line. That is the difference between a line and a shape in CorelDRAW. A line cannot be filled. It can only accept outline. Okay, outline color. But a shape can be filled. You can fill it in with color. So just so I will not get confused, let us dive straight in and open our CorelDRAW file. Remember the last CorelDRAW file we created? That's the one we are working on now. Okay. So um last time we created this. So we are going to create it again, but this time around for the sake of this tutorial. Alright. So we are first we're going to look at the rectangle and the ellipse tool. The rectangle and the ellipse tool. We are going to create a rectangle now. We created a rectangle in our last class, but let's just go ahead and create it again for the sake of this particular lesson. So let's create a rectangle. Come to the rectangle tool and then you select it. Okay. Now when you select the rectangle tool, you come here, then you draw a rectangle any size you wish. Alright. Now by pressing spacebar, I'm taking to back pixel. So if your pixel is the default, so if you use a tool and you want to revert back to pixel, you you tap spacebar. All right. So I believe you can still see my controls on this side. Okay. So let me just go ahead. So this is the rectangle. We created a rectangle. We can resize from this corner. Now, why do we resize from this corner? Is so that we can keep the shape consistent. Can keep the proportion. We can keep the ratio or the proportion of the shape consistent, even when it is small or when it is bigger. The proportion is consistent. Now, this might not matter much for shapes, but it matters when we are dealing with pictures because for pictures, if you um shrink it like this or expand it like this, you will be losing a lot of you'll be stretching or compressing the picture. So make it a habit to always resize from corners. Alright. Resize from the corners. Let's fill this in with color. Right. Fill it in with color. Okay. Then let's create so we've created a rectangle from the rectangle tool. How about if we want to create a square? Create a square, select the rectangle tool and hold down control. When you hold down control, you create a perfect square. Okay. A square is a shape which all sides are equal. I believe we know that. If we see from here, we can see that this shape that is selected has all sides equal. All right. Let me switch back to two. shape has all sides equal, whereas this other one has a shorter width and yeah, and more height to it. Okay, so that is that. We can give this any color we please, and then put it aside. Yeah, just put it aside on the corner. So let's go to the ellipse tool. For the ellipse, this is the ellipse tool. Okay, click on it. You can create an ellipse. An ellipse is anything that is oval or circular, or that is round. Anything that is round at all. So this is an oval shape. It's an ellipse. Uh, if you want to create a perfect circle, again, hold down Control and draw a perfect circle. Okay, so just like we had it square, and oval has on equal sides, the width and the height are not usually the same, but a circle has exactly the same dimensions for the width and the height. Okay, perfect circle. All right. So this can be a tall oval or a wide oval. You understand? Okay. So that is how to create um, ellipses and rectangles. All right. So can we can eventually go ahead and fill this with color. Let me introduce black. Let me give this uh, green. Okay, good. Next we okay. Let me also show us how to. I believe I've shown us how to give outline colors, but let me still do it here. You can do this for any of the shapes. All right. To give outline color, you can come to any color you please, and let's select deep yellow. Right click. When you right click, it will ask you to set outline color. Say yes. Go ahead, set outline color, and you've given it an outline color. If you want to increase the outline, you can always come here and increase the outline. Let's increase it to 4. Okay, let's get an outline color that will be more visible, something darker in contrast with that blue. Let's just go with black. Let's just go with black. Set outline color. Okay, so you can see that if we continue increasing this, we will see the outline become more and more obvious. Okay, so let's keep it at 4. Keep it at 4. All right, great. So next tool we'll be looking at is the um, so if you want to select everything, you just drag across it, and then when you select, shrink. Okay. So next we'll be looking at will be the polygon tool, polygon and star tool. So I'm going to select the polygon tool. I'm going to draw a polygon. It shows 6 sides. 6 sides is a hexagon, right? So I'm going to draw the polygon. Um, so this is 6 sides. 6 sides. Now it will be wobbling and going off in different directions until you let go. Okay, until you let go. But if you have a specific standard, if you want to make sure that it is upright and it is not rotating in any angle, see it's rotated in some angle. Let's make it 0 degrees, so it is straighter. It is straighter now. But if you want to make sure of that from the get go, from the start, when you click on it, you hold down Control and draw, so it does not rotate anyhow. Okay, it is straight as you want it. Okay, straight as you want it. There are no decimal for the rotation there. Alright, straight as you want it. Great. So, well, let's work with the first one we drew. Alright, then so if we can play around with it. Let me just quickly make a copy of this. Drag and then right click and make a copy. Okay. That is why still dragging on, make right click to make a copy. Let us play a little with this. So if I come here and I reduce the number of sides, this is point or this is number of points or number of sides. You know that the number of points of a polygon is the same as the number of sides. Okay, so if I want to reduce this to a pentagon, I click here and it drops to a pentagon. If I want to increase it, if I want to continue, this is now a square or a rectangle. Okay, so if I increase this, if I continue reducing this, I'll get a triangle. That is the least it can go. All right. So to increase it again, click here, click here, click here, click as much as possible. You can do that until you get something that looks like a circle. Okay, but we are going to keep it simple. Keep it at a pentagon 5. All right. Then we can convert. We can also convert this polygon into a star. We can convert this polygon into a star. We can do that by coming to shape tool, collect shape tool, and um, zoom in and see these points. See these points. Okay. If you drag these points in, you'll be creating a star. If I hold down Control, not rotate too much. But if I don't hold down Control, let me make a copy of this. If I don't hold down Control, um, and I'm working on the points, it would swirl. So to make it swirl instead of a star. Okay? So you understand. So yeah, you can create a star out of this polygon. Even out of this one, you can also create a star. So let's make it duplicate and then uh, see what happens when we do this again. If you don't hold down Control, it will be rotating and eventually create a square instead of a star. Okay, so we want to make sure that it is a star. If you want to make sure that it is a star, you hold down Control while working. Okay, so you can make this out. Great. So created all these shapes from a polygon. From a polygon. All right. From a polygon. Now, there are there are other there are other shapes that we can still create. These are not all. These are not all. If you want to make create other shapes, you can always come here. See this drop down here. If you open the drop down, you see various options, a lot of options. So this is the one we just finished working on, polygon. You can create a star directly. If you click on this, you can create a star directly. So currently it's on 5 sides. A star with 5 sides. Okay. Remember I told you if you don't want to rotate too much, hold down control so that you can control the shape that it's creating. So this is what the shape it creates when you let go. Um, if you still work on the corners, you can back to a polygon. You understand? Now we are using the star tool, but if you work on the corners, you can revert it to a polygon. Okay, so I'm going to undo that. And if you and you can also still make it into a swirl, just like we had with the let me go let me use shift tool for this. You can still make it. You cannot make it into a swirl. No, you cannot make it into a swirl with that tool. Alright. Alright, great. So that is it. You can increase it while the star tool is selected, you can increase the number of sides of the star. uh, So increase the number of sides until you get something that looks like a circle. If you continue increasing, okay, you continue reducing, you can come back to where you starting points where it is 5 sides. If you reduce, you have 4 sides, 3 sides, and that's the list. You can go. Alright. So let's leave it back to 5. You can also increase uh, the sharpness from this point. By increasing the sharpness, you are basically just you are doing you are doing this version. You are doing this with the shape tool. So another way of doing this with the shape tool is by uh, increasing or reducing the sharpness of each point. You understand? So that is it. That is how you create. That is how you walk around with the star star tool. All right. Now, um, the other option here is spiral. Spiral will not be will not use it very much. It may not come in as handy as that. You have few options with spiral. Okay? So we will not use it very much. So it's not really a shape because it is not closed. Okay. I will explain the difference between a shape and a line the other time. See, a spiral cannot take, let us give it color. See, it cannot take color. Well, a shape like this that is closed can take color. So it can take a fill, it can take outline. That's a shape. But if it can only take outline and no fill, then it is not a shape. So you cannot take a fill. You cannot fill it with color. Okay. You have to, the color has to come by outline, it's the outline color. See that? So that is it. That's the difference between a shape and and an ordinary outline. All right. So, having said that, let's look at other shapes that we can create. You can see common shapes here. Common shapes. You can create common shapes. Okay. And to create common shapes, you select the option common shapes by clicking on this drop down, and then you see common shapes. When you select common shapes, you can come here, click on this drop down, so and you see a lot of shapes that you can create. Any shape you pick will be created. So let's pick one, and we can hold down control and create this. Okay, and we can also come here, uh, bring our mouse to this point. Why the tool is still selected? I've not changed it. Why the tool is still selected, and we can do this. Okay, we can do this. Drag, and you see what we just created. Okay, so you can do that, and you can also create a lot of other shapes too. A lot of other shapes, as we can see here. Okay, a lot more shapes. Okay, so to create that, I create the heart shape. Come here, create the heart shape. Any shape at all you want to create from here, you can create. Alright, so that is it about creating shapes. So let's leave this here and go to the next page down. Now we are going to look at creating lines. Okay. Okay, we are going to look at sorry, we are going to look at drawing lines, drawing freehand lines. We've seen how shapes can be created here. Let's look at how we can create lines. All right, here. So create lines. You use these two. There are a couple of options here for us. You have freehand, 2 points, bezier, pen, bit spline, polyline, 3-point curve. Okay, so let's start with freehand. For freehand, you can just pick the freehand tool, and then you draw like you are drawing with a pencil, but you are using your mouse and the you are holding down your mouse and you are drawing. Whenever you are done, you let go, and that is it. You have your line. Most of what you'll be creating with a out freehand line drawing tool is basically a line, not shape. So you cannot color, but you can take fill. You cannot take fill color, but you can take outline color. Do you understand? Because it is a mere line, it is not a shape. So that is it for freehand. Now you can still close this. You can close this if you are drawing with freehand. You can draw and eventually close it by coming back to starting point. When you come back to the starting point, you would have closed it. So you see it closed. Now you can give it color. You see, you can now take fill color, but and you can also take outline color too. So both fill color, outline color, it is a shape, but only outline color it is a line. Okay, not a shape. So let's keep this here. Keep this here somewhere. Reduce the size of this one to fit here somewhere. Okay. Then I've shown us how to use freehand. Now let's use point line. Point line, as just like the name goes, it only creates a straight line with 2 points, nothing more. Okay, so if you create this line, this is it. You hold, you drag and hold, and then it draws the straight line for you. That's all you can do with a 2 point line. Okay, that is it. Then for Bezier, you can use Bezier to create a shape just like freehand. But in case of Bezier, you don't draw freehand. So you come here, you create a point, come here, create another point, create another point, create another point. Now you can stop creating points by tapping your space bar, or you can just go ahead and close it. Close shape by returning to the original point you started with, and then you have a shape. But if your intention is to just create a line, once you are done creating mapping out the line, you can just press your space bar and it goes back to select tool. All right. So we just created a shape here, and we are going to give it color to show that it is a shape. That's the shape. It takes that in a few color. So that's how you know it's a shape. We can reduce this and place it here, so it does take up all our white space. Okay. Then let's look at another tool. We've done Bezier, we've done point line, we've done freehand. Let's look at pen tool. It works like Bezier, except that you can see the line you are creating. So this is pen tool. Do you understand? I don't know what I'm drawing. Well, let's draw that. So the difference between pen tool and Bezier is that for pen tool you can see what they are drawing, but for Bezier you have to create the point blindly. Do you understand? It does not show you guidelines to how the shapes coming out. Okay, so but for pen tool you get to see guidelines on how the shape is turning out. So see that blue line showing you guidelines on how the shape is coming up. All right, so that's the difference between pen tool and Bezier. Okay, so for this one, remember we closed it, so it's now a shape. You can color it and set it aside. Right, great. Then okay, so now we've done pen tool, we've done Bezier, we've done 2.9, we've done freehand sketch. Okay, so let's do bit spline, okay, and see and have a feel of how it works. Okay, so this is spline. Bit spline helps you create more curved lines. All right, so you can do that with spline. Okay. All these other ones we created have rough edges, like they have sharp edges. Okay, but with bit spline you can create better curves. You can create lines that curve better. Okay. There is lines with smoother curves. Okay, um, that you can create with bit spline. Then for polyline, polyline is what you can create with polyline. Polyline lets you combine the freedom of freehand and the precision of pen tool. So that's what you can do with polyline. All right. So let's close that and color it. Don't mind I'm using this color. Okay, then let's take the next tool. Next tool is 3 point curve. 3 point curve. So the 3 point curve, you automatically, um it's like point line. Remember point line, like point line. For this one, you are creating a line with 3 points in this sense. So this this 3 point curve and point line are basically for creating lines, not for closing, not for creating shapes that close. You understand? Not for creating lines that close and form a shape. Okay, so that is what you use this guide for. All right. So the next thing we are going to do is to modify shapes. Okay, I'm going to show you how to move, rotate, scale shapes. We are going to show you uh, how to overlap shapes. How to overlap shapes. We are going to look at some Boolean operators when it comes to create new shapes by overlapping two shapes. Okay, so to do that, I want to bring all of this into the first page. Okay, I'm going to do Control X to cut, Control X cut, and I am going to the next page, page up, bringing it to the first page. I'm going to paste it. I want to paste at specific point, not here. So I'm going to zoom into this side, and I will do Control Shift V, paste it. Now you might not see it because you might not see it like you see this shapes because it's not in a white background. You understand? Not in a white background. So but I believe you can see them. Okay, so we are going to just since I want us to work inside this white background, so I'm also going to bring this guy out to this side. Okay, so in bringing this guy out to this side, we now have this white to work with. Now, what do we do here? What do we do here? I'm going to show us how to create shapes. Okay, so create shapes, it's simple. Bring this. Let me bring this one here. You already know how I usually do it. I drag the shape the way I want to place it, and then while I'm still dragging, I right click, and then you have that. Okay, so I've just did it. But if you want to do it another way, you do Control D. It's sorry, you do Control D. Make it this way. Let me do it again. Control D. Yeah. So you've created a duplicate. That's it. Um, Let me do it again with this one. Control D. Created a duplicate and I can bring it here. Alright, that's how to rotate the shape. How do you rotate? By clicking on any shape at all. When you click on it and click on it again, you see options. The options are for skewing and rotating. So let me zoom in. I hope we can see my mouse. So this is for skewing. hmm That's for skewing. Skewing is like you are just doing it in a way in the direction you want. Okay, let me quickly undo. Then this is rotate. This is for rotation. Okay. Now for rotation, you can bring this center. You can bring this to this point. Drag that center to this point. You are telling it to rotate along this center, not. Uh, you can bring the center to anywhere and tell it to rotate along that center. So if I'm rotating, you see, I'm rotating along that point, that center. All right, you see that? Great. So you can still undo all of this and bring the center to its original center and then rotate. Okay. So that's how to rotate. That's how to rotate. And you can do this with any shape at all. Any shape. Okay. Then that's how to rotate. By the way, you can also rotate from here. So if I do this 45 degrees, I rotate that square. Okay. Then how to combine shapes? How to combine shapes? Which shape are we going to combine now? Let's keep this one aside. I'm going to bring this shape and shape, and I'm going to combine them. Okay. So let me quickly flip this one. Flip this. I just hope this shape will create make sense. Alright, so two shapes that we want to combine. By the way, this is how logos are created by combining shapes. Okay, so this is the shape we want to combine. If I select while using pick tool, I can to select two of them. I just click on an empty space and drag to collect two shapes. So when the two shapes are selected, you see two objects selected on layer one. When the two objects are selected, I now have my what we call Boolean operators. Okay, these are Boolean operators here. So I can use this combine, use this weld, use this stream, use this or use any of the options here. So I'm going to choose weld. Now to weld is to combine the shapes in such a way that they become one. So this is what we have when we do weld. Okay. Then let me have a duplicate of this so that you see different uh, you see different effects of the different types. So this is weld. Okay, create another duplicate. This is combine. Let me create another duplicate. This is trim. So the duplicate on the trim. Do you understand? You understand what happened there? Then this is what to get when we do creating another duplicate now. This is what to get when we do intersect. So shape that is formed from the intersect is this. Okay. Then this is what we get when we do simplify. Nothing happens. Okay, nothing has happened here. Something has happened. Simplify gives you almost the same thing we get when we do intersect. Sorry, when we do trim. Okay, that's the effect simplify gives you. Um, then this is top minus front minus back. Front minus back. Let me create a duplicate. So I will see that front minus back. Give this another color so it does not confuse us which is which. Front minus back. If we do front minus back, we get this. This is the shape we get when we do front minus back. Bring this again. If we do back minus front, this is the shape we get. Okay, so different ways of getting the same shape. If we do um, if we do create boundary, what do you think happened? Let's see. This is what we get. Let me bring it to the light. This is what we get. Okay, when we do create boundary. So you have seen the different intersection, different combination options, different shape combination options. Okay, um, different shape combination options. Now I want to show how to do align and distribute quickly. I'm going to do that. I have to go to the next page because that page is full. Um, align and distribute. Okay, quickly. Let's create a rectangle here. This is a rectangle. I'm quickly going to bring one of my funny shapes from the other page. Let me bring this guy. No. Let me bring this guy. Copy. Control C. Page down to the next page. Control V. Paste. So this guy is off. I want to bring him to the center. Okay, let's say this guy is here, but I want to bring it to the center of this shape. So I click on this shape, and then the second shape I click on, I come here to my align and distribute bar, and I select align center horizontal and align center vertical. So when I do that, the shape automatically comes to the center. Okay. That's align. If I want to take it to the top right corner of this shape, so the second shape you click is the shape you're aligning to. Okay. While the first shape you click is the object of alignment, or the subject of alignment. Okay. So if I do this align left, you see, if I do this align top, so it has aligned the top left corner. I can do bottom, I can do center, and I can do top. For this one, I can do left, center, and right. Do you understand? So any combination of this and this will give you what you want. All right. Now that is for align. For distribution, I'm going to bring uh for distribution. Let me go to the next page. Let me still do it on this page. Move these guys out. I've created what I need. So let's have this couple of rectangles. So I duplicate. Let me give it a color first. Remove the outline. Then I duplicate this. I duplicate this 3 or 4 times. Okay, how many? 7 rectangles I have here. But I want to keep them in such a way that they come together very well. Okay, I want to arrange them very well. So to arrange them very well, I select them and bring it inside the frame very well. So I select them and I do this to give them an equal button, equal starting point button. Okay, so they all have the same button now. But I want spaces between them to be equal. So what do? I come to distribute horizontal. This is distribute horizontal. Assuming they were assuming I had this now. Okay, let me so first of all you will see the effect of that. Distribute horizontal. See how the spaces inside them are equal. Okay, they are evenly distributed that way, equal. Okay, so if I bring this down, let me bring this down. I'll remove a couple of rectangles now, and I rotate this to like 90 degrees, so that they stack up stack up on top of each other instead of from left to right. If these spaces are not together, if these spaces are not equal, and they are not well arranged, I can select everything, um, align right. If I align right, then I can also um, come to this side, distribute space vertically. Okay, now the spaces are well distributed, and this maybe I might have done a very poor job, but let me just space them out a little more so I can see. So select all and distribute vertically. They might not be aligned very well, so come and align them the right. Great. So we have that. The spaces between them are equally distributed. So that's how you do alignment and distribution. Okay. That's how you do alignment and distribution. So we are going to do a mini project now. We are going to create a house from shapes, from all the shapes that we have come to learn. We are going to create a house, a house from scratch. Okay. So page down, come to the next page, third page, and we're going to create a house. I would like this to be landscape, landscape orientation. Let me change it to A4, landscape orientation. Great. So what are components of a house? A house has the main block. This is like the main block, okay, which is going to be a rectangle, and then it has a triangle as the has a triangle as the roof. So we have to get triangles, common shape. You come and select the common shape triangle. You also know a lot of other alternatives I've mentioned in this course. So just draw a triangle first. We are going to work on it later. Okay, so you select tool and expand. Great. So I have that. Then I'm going to use align and distribute to make sure the triangle and the rectangle are centered to each other. Mm. Now I'm going to also shrink it down a little so that it fits into the frame of what we are working on. Okay. I don't want to zoom it too much so that you can still see my mouse. Great. So it has uh a little bit slim compared to all the things I want to fix inside. So let us stretch a little. Okay. Okay. Let us stretch a little. I know I told us not to stretch from here, but it's not a big deal. I'm still I don't have a fixed dimension I'm working with. Okay, so I don't have a fixed ratio I'm working with. That's why I can still stretch from here. Um, Great. So next thing is to place the door. The door has to be on the center of this rectangle. Now we do not know. We cannot use our eyes to tell if this is the center or not. So again, this door. We align this door to the the wall of the house by you hold down shift and also select the wall. Okay, so both the door and the wall are selected now, and then you can now come here and align horizontal center. So that is it. The door is at the center. Now what next? We want to create the windows. So create a window here and then duplicate this, Ctrl D, and then bring the second window here. Okay, so that the windows are the same size. The- By duplicating it, you have ensured that the windows are the same size. Now, but how do we ensure that the windows are aligned very well? The windows are well distributed from left to right, okay, because we cannot, ba- based on what we can even see with our eyes, we see that this window is closer to the door than this one is. Alright, so let's align the windows very well. So we select all the windows. You can either do that by using the pick tool to select can either do that by using the pick tool to select everything, mm, or you can you can just click on one and then hold shift to select more. Okay, so let's if we align and distribute this, everything will align and distribute to the door, and the door will align and distribute to the windows. Okay, so let's see that distribute space horizontally. The door moved. All right, but if we want to distribute everything in relation to the wall, then we'll also select the wall last, and then do this. Oh, okay, that did not work as I expected. Okay, just align and distribute this the doors first, the door and the windows first. Okay, those are well distributed. Then you group Control G. When you group, you can now center this to the wall. So after centering to the wall, you can now align. Okay, after selecting the wall too, you can now align so that you center everything to the wall. And with that, you have a quick house. You have a quick house. Okay. Now to just embellish this more, we can now create and I can now add colors to this to make it look like a house. Ungroup this, Ctrl U. Click on this, click on the wall, to give it a, let's use a brown color. Click on the windows to give it a white color or a silver color. Let's use pure white. Click on this window to also give it white. Click on this door to give it what color should we give the door? Can give the door this color. Okay. So we have our house. If we want to take it a little, if we want to take it a little further, we can create a step or a pavement here. Okay, create a pavement and then give it another color or give it the same wall color. Walnut. All right. Align it to the body of the house. Okay. So that's well aligned. You can continue doing this, duplicate this, then bring it down here to create another step and then align it to the wall. Great. So there you go. There you have your house. Okay. So in summary, what we learned today, we learned how to draw lines, how to draw shapes, and what makes a shape a shape. We've seen the difference between a line and a shape. We have seen how to draw them neatly and how to arrange them neatly. And in the next class, we should be looking at how to create text, how to bring text into the mix. All right. So enjoy.